Video games have been a lifelong passion of mine. I mean that as genuine and as unironically as someone in the cynical era can. They've been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, and a big one too. Probably 90% of the thoughts I had before I popped my first boner were about video games. The worlds they formed, the stories they told, the songs they sang, and of course, how they played. This medium has inspired, depressed, and impressed me with countless bipolar feelings. So here, today, I will tell you the story of my experience with the peaks and valleys of this art form. Video games have been around me since my inception. My mom... This fucking sun's annoying. I think that'd actually be cool. Video games have been around me since my inception. My mom bought my dad a PS1 DualShock edition for their anniversary, as he had hurt his back at work and he needed something to pass the time. He hated it, claiming it gave him headaches, even though he was an avid TV consumer. His loss was my gain though, as I got to have a PS1 since birth, although I didn't play it until a few years into childhood. My real earliest memory was getting the OG Game Boy with Pokemon Silver in it at a tag sale. I loved the TV show, and honestly, I loved animals, so Pokemon was meant to fall into my life. I fucked with this game heavy, despite my inability to read at the time. I would just stumble through the land on an almost completed save file, enjoying the scenery, and steamrolling everything with an over-leveled Typhlosion. Some humble beginnings. We really started cooking an undesignated amount of time later though. Crash Bandicoot and Spyro on the previously mentioned PS1? Actual peak. These games would show me what was possible in a 3D world, which was a new concept for me at the time. These dreamlike worlds would inspire me to create my own little levels and worlds in my head. I remember playing Neversoft's Spider-Man game and thinking, what if there was a secret hologram wall and there was like an epic power-up behind it? Thoughts like this would really relax my asshole. I would roll around my bed tirelessly, rubbing my thighs together like a cricket, thinking of new lands and worlds to explore, inspired by the games I played. The PS1, really PS1, my heart. The last of the childhood trinity would all start in Walmart. Back when you had to snap your neck 90 degrees up to look at the little consoles. This is where I'd get my Game Boy Advance SP Black Edition, with of course, the GOAT, Mr. Bandicoot. I also later got Pokemon Emerald, which had countless life-defining memories, so that's cool too. I would bring my Game Boy Advance along on car trips, and when my parents would drag me along to their friends' parties, where I'd sit in a couch, like in an unused room, or on a plastic lawn chair, volume full blast, serenading me with compressed midis. Life seemed so peaceful, so infinite back then. Some of the earliest connections I ever made, and by extension friends, were talking about video games. This is how it would relate to my fellow prepubescent. You like Pokemon? I like Pokemon. You wanna like, kiss? Even later on in my teenage years, I would strengthen the bonds of people I met at school through things like Xbox Live, whether it be just talking in a party or playing a game. Video games were my Rosetta Stone. I used it to connect with people. It inspired my thoughts and dreams. It basically shaped who I am today. Even though I had a glut of video games to play and have played, video games just didn't hit the same anymore. But that's a trope at this point. Countless YouTube videos are just called, video games aren't fun anymore. That's fucking stupid. I was built different though. I didn't just play Minecraft exclusively for my whole life. I played a variety of games, but the feeling was still there. Despite all this, the fun in games still diminished. There were specks of it still there, but the highs of childhood could not be reached. I would force myself through games just to check them off a list. I was playing games for the sake of saying that I beat them. I would detach myself by listening to podcasts or music. I would try to multitask to at least feel productive, or at least stop the voice in my head from beating down on me. I invested so much time into the playing and the knowledge of these games that I couldn't just leave them behind. If I stopped playing, that would take out a pillar of who I was, what I specialized into. Part of the problem was I was looking at it from the point of view of a younger me, and I didn't have the time or the perspective to make that work. I needed a new outlook, an adult lens. As a child, you saw every little pixel of the games you had because you had limited games. You 100%ed over the heads on GBA, because what else were you gonna do? Stare out at the beautiful nature on your 24-hour car ride to a vacation spot your parents picked? You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. You can't and you shouldn't do that. There are an infinite amount of games out there and many more coming out on the daily. You have to pick your battles. The day I realized Nintendo will continue to pump out funny Mario game long after I die was a somber one. Learn to appreciate the art of the games while you play them. Stop and smell the roses, the graphics, the music, the atmosphere. There's a lot more to take in than meets the eye. Only put the amount of time into a game that you want. Don't mindlessly grind it. 100%ing games in this day and age is almost never worth it in my eyes. Completing games sometimes made me dislike them, or at least they overstayed their welcome. Take that time you'd have completing games and put it towards something better, stinky. Like a skill. Or more games. In order to enjoy playing games again, I'd have to change the way I was interacting with these sprogs. What I started with was setting the time aside to play the games and get immersed. Whether it was playing one mission of Red Dead Redemption 2 before bedtime, or one level of Dracula X Chronicles during my break at work, I would set the time aside to play the game. When I'm in my little time capsule, I try to have my full attention on what's in front of me. Now, I still have the urge to play some background YouTube video, but what really makes the experience of the game is to be fully present and in the moment. Lastly, I'd try to lock into fewer games and stretch myself thin trying to juggle multiple games at once. This helps me refresh myself with some genres and really give each game the attention and breathing room it was intended for. Games feel better the less you play them. It's a bit ironic, but same could be said of lots of hobbies. When I, for lack of a better term, fell out of love with games, what I had to do was adapt. If you continue to do the same thing throughout your life, you'll get bored and it'll pass by in a blink. Give your brain some much needed exercise. Try new genres, play games a little differently, maybe go back to the classics. Doing the same thing with life could also help you out. Spread your wings, baby child.